Hi everyone, it's Paul again, and today I'm going to talk about the joy of owning the Cayin N30 limited edition Amber Pearl version. I remember I did a review back in 2023, so it's a couple of years now since I've had the original version. And the reason I'm doing this is because there was $1 million question on how good is the Amber Pearl version as opposed to the original, and is it really worth that extra money to get it? So today I'm going to hope to answer that question. But before that, I want to just talk about in general, you know, how it is with the Cayin over these 2 years, and whether it's still as good as it is. So at that time, I remember there were two versions that came out. This original one on the left, which I think they made about 300 of these, and the Amber Pearl one, which is 99. But the price was almost like 3 times as much at that time for the Amber Pearl. But then you get a Amber Pearl IEM with that, and there was a mixed feeling from end users at that time because everybody was into portable DAPs, and at that time, having a 650-gram DAP was considered to be massive. And people were saying, oh, it's not a portable, why should I get it? But in a way, after all these years, these couple of years, you could see that Cayin's actually set the trend in terms of making larger DAPs. And, the reason is because they built at that time this, from the grounds up, a new amp on there, which required that power to drive it. And a lot of people wanted to get to the next level of sound quality, in that you have a literally desktop amp in a portable machine, and that was unheard of at that time. So after the 2 years, what's evolved is that you see a trend of these IEMs now coming out, which are literally larger, and it has this desktop capability or providing that that power amp to drive literally any IEM and even headphones on that. So in a way, it is a bit groundbreaking, and that's the reason why I like Cayin, because firstly, it has their own sound, right? Sound signature, and they're really well known for making tube amps, smaller ones. So it's very rare for them to go into the portable space. And this 30th anniversary version of this DAP is really something that they don't really do, right? They do once in a blue moon. So that's the reason why, I think once they commit to doing something like that, it's going to be good, and really is good. I mean, if we cover some of the components that they have, so both of them use the AK4499 EQ DAC, which are supposed to be rare because the factory burnt down, so you can't get any of these DAC chips anymore. Secondly, is using the Korg new tube, the 6P1, in both of these. So you have the benefit of both the solid state sound signature as well as the tube sound that you get from these two DAPs. So in terms of looks, both look identical, and there's very little in it apart from the Amber Pearl prints on the back on there, and then on here probably the numbering on there, where you see that it has the Pearl and then the limited edition numbers on these. So only 99 of these were made. They were snapped up pretty quickly, and I remember at that time I decided to go for the original one because I didn't really want to buy the Amber Pearl IEM with that. And at that time I was absorbed into the N30LE TI, and when I paired it with this, the sound was holographic. It took me to another level, and it was just a really good DAP. And even now, after all these years, I still consider these to be the best DAPs on the market at the moment, for a number of reasons, and I'm going to cover that in a minute. So what's the difference between these two? So these two, there's 3 things in the Amber Pearl version that they've improved. So basically, they got the crystal oscillator, which is the improved version, which provides less jitter. on here. They've basically made the JFET with a stronger current in this version, in the Amber version, and it changes the tube, the timbre of the circuit output on it by using the Texas Instrument as opposed to the Toshiba version. And then they've actually improved the differential input stage in here, and basically they spent a lot of time working on this to make it sound a lot better with the Amber IEM. So all the extra time they spent in there is the reason why it costs this much, to improve the components that I've mentioned before, as well as the time they've spent in actually improving the sound experience on the Amber IEM with this. Now, the $1 million question is, should you pay extra for this if you're not going to use the Amber IEM? And is there a difference between the two? So what I did was, when I got both of these, and the reason why I bought this was because I wanted to test the difference. Okay, so I put them side by side, spent 2 weeks putting the same songs on there, making the same setting. So I put it on, hyper mode, classic, of course, using the tube mode. The tube mode being that the classic is giving you the rich, warm experience, right? Like a classical tube amp, all right? And then I put the same music through it and listen to it using the same, songs, same IEM. And is there a difference? Yes, there is a difference. This is slightly better in terms of having a full body. It's richer in sound, and there's a lushness in there that is slightly better than the original. Okay, so the sound stage is really holographic. Is quite wide on here as well. So when I listen to stuff like Josh Groban, live jazz with David Sanborn, Eric Clapton, and also my favorite like Luther Vandross, it just sounds really good on here. It positions the vocals in the right place, and the warmth is just right, in that the sound is very organic, warm, true feel, but you don't lose any of the or lack any of the details in there. So that's the reason why I love this DAPS a lot. And I know there's going to be the Evo One that's going to be coming out to compete with this, but I went ahead and bought it anyway, because in the last 2 years nobody would release this DAP on the market, and I was on the lookout, and only recently that they released it, I snapped it up immediately, and it's satisfied my curiosity in that. Now, the $1 million question: would you pay extra to get this? For me personally, obviously sound is a very subjective thing, and that little difference, is that going to make make a difference to your listening experience? For me, definitely I would go for the Amber Pearl. I would pay the difference to get that, even though I may not use the Amber Pearl IEM. I think it's worth it, but the only thing is that the sound difference has to be, could only be picked up, I think, for me personally, in a very quiet listening environment. Okay, so if you are on the road a lot, and you use this outside, then I wouldn't, a lot more than at home, then I wouldn't go for this one. I mean, I'll go for the original one. Is really good already, to be honest, and there's very little in it. There's very little in terms of how much you could pick it up, in terms of unless you have supersonic ears, right? You're not going to be able to pick it up unless you have it in a quiet environment, in a home environment or indoor environment, where you have that you have that quietness to actually be able to pick up the difference. Okay, and so if you're going to use the Amber Pearl and IEM, and you're going to be mainly in a home environment to listen to, then I would buy this. No questions asked on that. But if you just happy with taking it around with you, not using the Amber IEM, and use it not every day, sparingly, then go for the original. I mean, the original one is really good already. I feel it has that Cayin sound signature. It's got the tube, you got the solid state, as well as the tube options on there. But obviously, the tube is going to be the classic mode, is going to be where the differences are. I've put them both on the solid state mode as well, and the difference is even minimal on there. But yes, it is worth it. And, for a 30th anniversary, definitely worth getting, because I don't think Cayin brings out any portable equipment much, like a portable DAP much, maybe once in a blue moon. So I think this will still be top of my list. Okay, so yes, that's my final verdict. Go for it. It is worth every penny, and the build quality is just tremendous. Even after all these years, I'll come back and I managed to get it, and I'm so happy. So thank you. Like and subscribe. Bye for now.